Okay.
And you will all rise in that honor to do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Will we?
Yes. Would you please repeat with me? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, we gave everybody the opportunity to meet with you guys and see how many people showed up, so at least we gave them the opportunity.
Okay, roll call. John Sykes.
Tim Broughton.
You want to state your name, so for the record? Okay, let's go right here.
With Charles Abbott Associates. David Chow, Charles Abbott Associates.
Margaret Monson, Charles Abbott Associates.
Jim Morrissey, PCL.
Jim Barrett, Charles Abbott.
Okay. And Kirsten and Aaron are here. All right. You are public, so there could be public comments, but I don't think you want to speak at this point, do you? All right.
Can I make an agenda request?
Sure.
Could we get a brief overview of how things have gone from you guys? Just so that we can, have to sit around through all of this stuff.
Move 9 to the first item. So I don't know what 9 is for.
Session. Yeah, if you don't mind, that way we
Because I have no idea what that was.
just
Okay.
general overview. If you don't mind, I'll let that person or after the basic stuff. Okay. Could you guys give us an overview of how it's gone?
Do you need to come up, or I guess let her know?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Or you can sit right
the
there.
best thing would be,
Okay.
we're not going to make you sit next to us again like we did before.
Thank you.
No more nervous.
You don't have to sit right
Oh, okay.
Okay, well, thanks for having us here again today. And so far, the transition has gone fairly smooth. We've identified a few things that we'd like to maybe improve on. Our staff is, the transition with the previous consultant went very smooth, and we got the information we needed. I let Margaret address, we had a pre-construction meeting prior to us officially taking over, but we attended the pre-construction meeting for the guard gate reconstruction, and there were some issues there, and we were able to work with the POA and get some of that resolved. You want some more specific details, I can have Margaret cover that, because it was more related to the right-of-way encroachment permits and things like that, so I'll let her address that. But we're continuing to evaluate the best way that we can serve the customers here, and your customers and your citizens, and our customers and your citizens. And so we'll be making some recommendations to the city manager, some things we'd like to do to improve. We are, as we, in our presentation, we are open Monday through Thursday now. And so that's pretty much it, but it seems to be going smooth, and hopefully avoiding any major hiccups. I think it might be a few little minor ones, but we'll definitely we're on top of things and trying to keep those to a minimum. So
Anything you didn't anticipate? Any big surprises?
business as usual. It's a building, and the building and the it's what we do. So it's anything that comes up, it's not really a surprise. I think I've seen everything. I don't know. We'll wait and see.
Okay. How, just if you don't mind my, how are we doing on the permits for the dog park? Has that all been resolved? The city?
I am not aware of the dog park.
I have received the plans for review and is still in the process of reviewing the plans.
Are there any major problems with the plans?
It's gone through one plan checked by the previous consultant, so I don't see any major problem or comments.
Okay. obviously there's, well, I don't know what their schedule is in terms of actually doing something, but there's a lot of political pressure to make sure that make that happen if possible. So whatever we can do to expedite that process would be appreciated.
Okay.
The same thing with the gate.
Okay. Would give us an update, maybe give us more update on.
Yeah. Would you like to cover some of that, Margaret?
Yeah.
Come on, I'll let her have a seat.
Yeah, thanks. I usually deal with the Public Works, and I attended the pre-construction meeting for the gate. I think it's been over a month now. Is that correct? They did not at that point have an encroachment permit for the city right-of-way, so we informed them they would need one. And the engineer actually produced different plans because they had some problems, and they still are, as of yesterday, the contractor contacted me, and are still having some issues with notification signs on the main Railroad Canyon Road. So I don't actually know yet when they're going to start.
Okay. Have they, is there anything that we're holding them up on that?
Oh, no. Yeah, 'cause, initially they were very surprised that they needed an encroachment permit. And I said, well, that's normal procedure, and they submitted their plans, we turned them around within less than 24 hours.
Okay.
So there wasn't any holdup from us as far as the city is concerned. So, and even then, as soon as they're asking questions, I'm responding within an hour. So,
Do you have any idea what's going on with the water district?
I do not. I had an email from their construction management firm saying that they needed to relocate a water meter, and somebody from the water district was supposed to attend a meeting and they weren't available. That was the last I had heard. I don't have an updated schedule as of today. So I'm not exactly certain when they're even going to begin.
Okay.
So,
But we don't know the nature, it just seems like a lot. Their POA is saying that it's water meters that are causing the delay at this point. Is that your read on what's going on?
that was the last thing I had heard maybe 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
So as far as I know, at this point in time, the contractor has not moved on the job. They have not begun. So if there was a water meter relocation, the contractor would have actually moved on the job, put up their signs, notified the public, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm not certain if that is still the issue.
Okay.
My emails are along the lines of, okay, do we have an updated schedule?
Now, is that part of what we do is monitor whether they have all their permits in from like the water district and everything?
That would be for, only within the public right-of-way is what we actually deal with. So anything on Railroad Canyon Road. Their water meters are likely on Canyon Lake Drive South, which wouldn't be under our purview.
So we don't know what's going on there, we don't have any.
No. So, still waiting.
I think communications is really great. I don't know what this has to do with the finance committee, but stretching this out to a claims and demands and a question that I have for you. And Kirsten, you can correct me on this. I had thought that one of the things we had said with them is that they will take over the problems and things with the median and the maintenance and all of that stuff. Am I correct?
They're going to be overseeing the contract that we have.
Just the contract, but not the work.
No, everything. So we met as a group 2 weeks ago
Yeah,
with the landscape median contractor and figured out where they were, that the lighting still needs to be repaired, and they're kind of working in sections. So as they clean up one section, then they're replacing the plumbing and the lighting, and there's a couple other areas that they needed to fix before we all sit down as a group and try and figure out what direction we want to do with the plants that are in there. We're still we have billed our previous contractor to get $50,000 for the dead plants. So we're still working with that as a city, but we have sat down as a group and kind of discussed where they're going to be going.
Especially got the thing, place the man's Hooper thing, all this stuff too, but it seems like, I know we're doing things in sections and stuff, but we don't seem to get to the weeds for weeks or whatever. You know, the east end was bad, it looks like they've sprayed and done some stuff, but now we've got weeds that have been by the palm trees here that like they've been there for weeks and stuff.
I will follow up with them and see what their plan is, if they're working on that, and if not, have them focus on it.
So we complain to you as such, and then so you tell them, and then they take care of it, would be. That's your understanding?
yes. Actually, they're still in the recon mode to identify how many things need to be replaced. The last communication that I had was that they were working down at the Menifee border, and they had some issues with that contractor actually cutting a wire. And I promptly contacted them and said, okay, hey, you want to fix this, or do you want me to contact your insurance? So in that case, they also had been working on fixing the water pump, the pond pump for the irrigation, which was a big deal. So,
Okay, I like that, but part of it is, and that's great, that needs to be done, but it's the thing, the visual thing that people see is the weeds and stuff like that, that just needs to be taken care of, and I don't know what the regular basis is, the rotation and how that works. But we were at a luncheon, and there was a comment made about the eastern end there and what Menifee is doing. Were they coming up far enough with their new landscape design? You remember that comment? I didn't have an answer. I don't know where our city boundary exactly is out there. Are they coming up to it? Are they short of it? Are they beyond it?
the plans show that they are coming up to the city boundary, which is right near the planter pot. And it'll be at least according to their plans, it'll be a transition from one to the other, as in you'll see the last planter pot for Canyon Lake, and then theirs will take over.
The comment was made that it appeared that the irrigation only extended about, what was it, 20 feet away from the planter pot, so they were concerned that there's going to be a gap.
You have these neighbor things where there's a dead man's area. You know, I'm not gonna cut the grass there, and I'm not gonna cut it, so you got this area that no one's gonna take care of.
I can find out exactly where they're going with it. At this point in time, we have an overview as far as the encroachment permit that I required from them. That, you know, if you're gonna set up traffic control within the city, you're gonna need a permit, which they did finally get. But as far as the landscape plans, I didn't request or require that simply because it wasn't within the city. I will talk to the city of Menifee and find out exactly how close they are and whether or not they're going to blend in or leave a...
We're just relaying the citizens' concern.
Okay.
That's us, so.
They may actually have some hardscape there, which in that case, they would not need to irrigate it. So, which would make some sense to me in that they wouldn't have to get close to our things.
Well, I think it's one of those things that's just good that we I can tell them what to do or how to do it. But we know what's going on right at our border, how that's gonna work out.
Yes, I've actually reached out with the city of Menifee and have had good contact with the engineering department. And our guys, if they're going to encroach over there, I'm telling them, yes, you're going to need some permits over there, as opposed to, okay, do whatever you have to do. So I'm developing a relationship with the city of Menifee so that they're able to contact me and say, okay, our guys are going to be over there, we're going to send them over for a permit.
We'll call and I'll get you the answer as soon as we hear back on those.
Well, I think if we're on top of it, if she's on top of it, we're okay. It just came up at that luncheon, and correctly so, she said, I have no idea where that is, but we'll look into it. And so, I think there were emails that was being looked into, but while we had a chance, I just bring it up, and I'm glad that what you're doing and how you're doing it, that we're on top of it. So it's great. Appreciate it.
Just wanted to thank you guys for coming. I know it's kind of a waste to show up, but, you know, we did put it, pictures were all in the Friday flyer, and we invited everybody to be here, and at least at this point, we can, there's problems, and, you know, say, hey, we invited you guys to show up, and nobody was here, so we appreciate your coming and helping us with this. To address the question that you kind of raised earlier, we really don't have any committee to discuss these kind of things, you know, since we don't have a formal planning committee. And under the guise of administration, I don't think it's a bad thing
I think communication is great. As a matter of fact, we're planning committee, I think.
Yeah, we're planning committee too, so we can call it a joint planning.
But we have to declare
Okay,
that
that's
it's posted, so we didn't meet as a planning
No.
committee.
But would it be possible just to get these kind of updates on this meeting? You know, obviously, not everybody needs to be here, but just a bit of an update of these meetings on Tuesday mornings,
Certainly.
first. I think that would be useful.
It would be great. Hopefully, we don't have that many things, but you know, if things come up with the gate or some problems that arise, obviously we're going to probably hear about it immediately. But it would be nice to know. As you know, being a member of the community, you go to the POA meetings and listen to the meetings, and well, the city is holding us up on this and that. And so it's nice for us to know whether we are, and for good reason, or we're not. I think that was your point.
Yes. Well, yeah, and I'd just like a general update. You know, I know that in the past we received a little weekly update on everything that's going on in planning, and kind of kept the council aware of the outstanding activities. So I think that would be nice to continue. I don't know enough about building to even say what's going on, or that kind of thing. You know, is there the same kind of list in building on people that requested permits?
We haven't, but we could if that's.
Is it a big job to do? I mean, is there?
Just, you know, there's a lot of patio covers and solars, you know, single family, but we could put something together.
Yeah.
Once we get a computer permit issuing system installed, it's going to be very easy for Jim to be able to get our kind of a report. Okay, here's the number of commercial permits pulled, residential permits pulled, and things of that nature. So as we progress and move into getting the computer system sent here, put together and acclimated, we'll be able to produce very easily that information.
Okay, that would be nice. You know, my sentiment is that, you know, it's not critical or not an emergency. I do like that planning stuff, because we have no idea whether, you know, planning, you know, whether we're walking into a landmine. You know, our kind of role is being an interface to the community. You know, we hear things that you don't, you know, and all of a sudden something pops up that you think's a non-issue, and it turns out to be a big issue in the community. So that little updated planning is very helpful to us to just know when we're heading towards some landmines. But when we reach that point, I would hope that we would do that, so that we just get a basic, here's what's going on, so that we know that. I'd also like to suggest that under the guise of administration, and since we're going to have somebody here, that information be presented, at this meeting, so that we keep on top of things when it's available.
Just note on the permit issuance system, as we spoke when we first came on, it takes about 90 days, because we have to get all your fees, and we have to get all the background information, we have to program the backside of it, so that it functions for this city particularly, and how the fees are calculated, and put all the street names and all that stuff in there.
One thing that we did ask for, to the city managers of the past, is that we have fees in there that nobody even knows what they're for. And, if we can clean up that fee structure just with a little common sense, I don't think we need a fee study or a fee analysis, just a clean up so that at least we can describe what the heck it is we're charging for. Does that make sense?
Yeah, we'll look into that.
Okay.
And I'm not trying to make work for you guys, but I know that the mayor has a soft spot in his heart for
Hard
solar.
spot. Oh, okay.
He has a heart, let's put it that way. But a soft spot in his heart for planning and stuff, and what you have to go through for solar, and to make sure that it is a simple, quick, easy process for people. I say that, what do you do?
Well, basically, I think you guys, when we talked to you originally, you knew that, I'd like to see the planning process as simple as possible. So that, yes, that's true.
So that I'll make it work for you, but when you get through that, with all that stuff, how you do it, because I've talked to a couple of constituents that have said, I have to do this, and it's going to take a month to get through this process.
One of the things we try to create for certain types of permit issuance, and correct me if I'm speaking out of turn here, but for certain things, we feel that some things can be plan review and issued within a day or so.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
Like patio, certain types of patio covers, solar, things of that nature, swimming pools. So as we progress, we're going to make sure we create that as we have in multiple other jurisdictions.
We, part of our commitment is that we do first check in 10 days and second, any subsequent checks in 4 or 5 days. We don't treat that as a target, we treat it as a goal to beat. So we've already been looking at most solars, and part of what we're looking at for services, we've heard from some of the solar permit runners. There's companies that actually come and get the permits for the solar companies that they had some suggestions that would help them as far as counter hours, and so those are some things that we're going to be discussing that they would like to see us do to make their jobs easier, and because they're running all over the place and going from city to city. But we are already instructed staff that we're to turn solar plant checks around in 1 to 2 days.
One thing that we did, keep thinking of new things, one thing that we did as a resolution in the council some time ago that I'm not sure you're aware of, but because we had an issue come up about trees and the blockages of trees on solar panels. And so we actually passed a resolution that you guys would provide, when somebody comes in with the solar panel, some sort of notification that, hey, your neighbor might put in a tree, and that's not our responsibility. That they were aware of the potential, the potential issues that might arise because we can't control, or we've decided not to control the planting of trees that interfere with solar panels, or building another building. If they're planting a solar panel that, planting solar panels next to a vacant lot, that might become an issue. And so I would hope that we can continue in this process to notify those people that there are things beyond our control that we won't help you with. So if you go ahead and put in a solar panel, be aware these problems could arise.
Yeah, we'll look into that.
As a last stipulation, and we need to move on, is that we are an advisory group, so we cannot direct you and tell you what to do as council members and such, but we would love it if you guys would look into what we talked about.
Sounds like wonderful suggestions to me. I think we need to look into those.
Thank you.
And look forward then to somebody showing up and giving us a brief rundown, on these Tuesday mornings. You're here anyway, aren't you? Okay, on Tuesday mornings, it doesn't have to be formal. Thank you guys for coming, and I'm sorry that no one else is here, but we gave everybody the chance. And now when they bitch, at least we can say, hey, we tried. So,
One last thing, we have our business cards for the City of Canyon Lake, and it just, each one of your key staff members, we have our cell phone numbers on there. for the
Oh,
public.
wonderful, wonderful.
So that's something that should improve, help with, if anybody has need, the cell phone numbers on there, and they call us directly. So-
Yeah, I think that I would like to have everybody's cell phone numbers. Speaking of which, the guys from administration.
That's me.
It'd be nice to get a new list of cell phone numbers.
Yeah, we're gonna work on that after Wednesday's
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you again for your coming and our participation with the job review folks. Pair of your legs, anything.
Johnson Emergency.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have any other comments, questions? Okay. Thank you for letting us take this on board so they can get back to something productive.
That's okay. Second communications here. Moving on though, to serve the claims to the names.
We're going to accept the minutes.
Oh, minutes were minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, accepting the minutes.
Accepted.
Minutes were accepted. Claims and demands. Okay, page 7. On the agenda, page 1 of the demands. I guess we'll start, well, if we talk about it, let's do with the page of the agenda. So this would be on page 7, starting with page 7, so we all know what we're talking about. Why do we pay postage to the POA?
When we do mass mailings, especially for business license, we utilize their postage meter so that we don't have to go buy rolls of stamps and do them by hand.
Makes sense.
I apologize, I've got a bunch of other things this week and I didn't review this, so if I could just have a moment to scan.
Well, go ahead.
Okay, right at the top. Refund of my citation nuisance and fine. What does that mean?
I don't know, and without Terry being here, I can email over to Michelle and find that out for you.
Karen, I don't understand.
There are 2 checks and one has nothing on it, so
Yeah.
use a check with nothing.
I'll find out.
So you'll email us what that's about? Well, I
And so
guess-
we did talk about the landscape maintenance, so in January.
Attorney fees are up higher than usual, is that because of everything going on?
Everything going on.
On 22216, we have if aerials on, I don't know what the deal's gonna be on aerials, leaving contracting this month, or however that's gonna work. But, have the open issue of, if she's under contract, is she still going to get educational reimbursement?
I don't believe that's in her contract. I will double check, but I don't think that was, I think that was under her city manager contract, not her city clerk contract, but I'll double
Just wanna make sure
check.
she knows that,
This was a fee, so, I'm sorry,
yeah,
because I signed a check, a fee that goes back to January, as I recall, what she was.
yeah, I just don't want her to be paying fees that we're not gonna reimburse her.
But I'll double check.
Okay.
And then just as a note, if you look at 22212 for fingerprints, that's gonna be a little bit higher than normal for the next couple of months as we're going through and slowly starting to fingerprint all of our CPLEC volunteers. So that's gonna be a little higher for a few months.
Let's see what,
The Canyon Lake Emergency Preparedness Committee.
they'll have to be fingerprinted now?
Yes, they have not been fingerprinted before, so to be covered as disaster service workers and make sure that we don't have any issues, we need to make sure that there's nothing in their background.
Is that state law or is it decided?
That's best risk management practice, I guess, would be the best way to
Makes
put
some
it.
sense that we wouldn't want somebody in this emergency, I mean, was a terrorist, and that's.
Or someone who's operating a care and shelter branch that might have sex registrant qualifications that we don't know about.
Okay. So we're running almost 3 months behind the sheriff's contract. We have any, someplace in here, is there, sometimes we have a percentage of budget calculation?
I don't remember seeing it in this one. I think Terry said that they weren't gonna have it for this one because of the closeness and how the cycles worked.
Okay.
But I think he said it was going to be on the next one.
It's running roughly, it's always been, I'm just concerned that, when we look at the percentage of budget, we remember that we're looking at 3 months behind sheriff's budget. Courtney, what's going on there? 22228.
That was her payout of vacation and comp time. We originally gave her notice of termination.
So we gave Courtney notice of termination.
I think Ariel sent the email out. So it wasn't this past Thursday, it was the Thursday prior to.
Send an email out.
To council members.
I didn't,
I'll double check. I thought I remember one going out, so I will double check.
I don't remember seeing it. I got a surprise. I really don't know about it.
I signed that check, it was a request for someone to come in and sign this check by 4 o'clock that date. And I assumed it was what it was for, but I never got any notification or anything.
Let me
It's
double
the
check.
empty desk, but I never.
Are there any outstanding legal issues associated with Courtney?
Not at this time, they're going through this, what they call the Skelly process, the admin hearing. And we're just following all what our procedures to make sure that we're on state lines, so there can't be, objection, overturn on appeal based because we didn't follow our own rules.
Are you part of the decision?
No.
just say, going forward, certainly your business, being hired, being fired, and all that stuff, but as members of council, we get used to people, acquainted with people, consider the people part of the family, so it's difficult on us.
That change happens, yes. So I'm always keeping in regards to HR issues.
Let's see. Okay, you refunded Jordan's business license, what was that about?
He was sent out a renewal, he paid it, but didn't realize that it was for one of the businesses that he no longer operates, so then we refunded it.
When people fill out their 740s, do they have to list the businesses that they own in the lake?
Within the city boundaries or ones that might be affected by decisions of
So
the
that's
council.
listed in Jordan's.
And it is.
On page 14, that you put in, his iPad service at $239. That's almost the cost of an iPad. Was definitely given that, but
I don't, I can,
I didn't,
okay.
I broke that.
no.
I dropped it and cracked. I'm guessing that that's what happened.
Oh, the screen needed to be replaced on it. That's right.
It's almost just as cheap as like $400 or $500 for.
The model that you guys have is not the $400 and $500 ones. Because of the memory capacity on it, they're the ones that are close to.
We only need 2 gigs of memory, because this is like separate, so you don't need it. I'm just kidding, but I gave mine back so that Dawn could have one, because she didn't have one, and I didn't use them, I've got my own, and I don't use them,
Yeah, I voted against buying them, and it was kind of,
keep using them for a long
yeah, but I use it, but not, I can have my own. I mean, it's a silly, the council doesn't need the city to buy iPads with, we've got iPhones, most of the emails are the main thing that people use it for.
As I recall, since I was not a city council member, we didn't get a vote like you did, that it was to reduce the cost of paper.
Yeah, I know, what a joke.
But we still have paper and notebooks.
Yeah,
and
I agree with you.
stuff,
It's just, we're gonna call it a benefit, it should be called a benefit, not, and I wonder if it's a benefit,
Do you know if Dawn has gotten my old iPad?
I don't know.
And I still can't get Dropbox to work. I was looking for something on Dropbox the other day. It's kind of a joke. I enjoy having it, but my grandkids enjoy it more than I do.
Children is really out of work.
Anyway, that's me probably.
Dawn, what's it do?
We told her that it's in, last time I checked, I know that it was in Ariel's office. We had told her that it was in there. I'll follow up and see if it's still there or
If
not.
she doesn't want it, that's fine. It's cool. She just said she never got it. Bring my age to it now. There's no, if she wants it, there's no point letting it sit someplace. I know what she's gonna do.
One thing that happened that Ariel was aware of, she nagged me about, but I had it doesn't catch Wi-Fi as well as my Windows PC. So I had it set on my porch a lot, and it was not catching the Wi-Fi, and it was catching cellular. And so the city was getting big cellular charges, and I didn't know, because I just assumed it was catching the Wi-Fi, So, just so when you get new people that are using that thing, you might let them know that if they're not even, to turn that off and check whether they're getting,
Wi-Fi or on
whether it's getting hit with Wi-Fi or whether it's getting hit with cellular, because I don't know what kind of charges you're running. Apparently it was paying if you're not spending too much money on cellular connections.
Okay.
Well, that's probably one of the things that you're talking about, the expensiveness of these machines, because they're Wi-Fi, 4G kits, and for my kids, I want them the cheaper ones without that. They've
They're
got
just Wi-Fi only?
hotspot that they could carry if they wanted to do it, and it's a whole lot cheaper.
Yeah.
When you take, how much that additional, like it's $10 a month.
Yeah.
Over that time period, between the 4G and non-4G, there's a $300 or $400 difference. And it's just as good.
Yeah, I think it's a joke to claim that that's used for city benefit. We're certainly not getting the benefit of it.
No. But we use some grant money for that.
Use your own money. Yeah, use your own money.
All right. And we should have signed, check 22260, signed immediately, distributed and all
I'll make a note of that.
those days.
Let's see.
He's a nice guy, we need to take care of him.
What are you talking about? Okay. US Bank 22254, that's just the credit card rate.
Correct.
Oh, we got two.
2 months.
You're gonna be looking at mine, I haven't filed for years.
Just
It was a
just
big one.
for the sake of Aaron, in one of the meetings, that I had said that file every month is difficult because of the billing process to get the supporting documents, because they're not as up to date as that. But said that people don't file on a monthly basis, even though they're the mayor, they should get reimbursed. And he's got a year's worth.
Thank God that's not been voted on.
All right, anything else in the claims and the bans?
Not that I have. Sometime, by the way, especially when you get a new person, they're gonna wanna go through every one of these things is. Make sure they understand. And I'm not sure if you got any advice on how we're gonna be doing our reviews better. The concern I have is some verification at some point that what you're saying here matches what's in the books. It's not that I don't trust you, but at some point, the audit process needs to not only look are the books but is your oversight seen, aware of what's in the books. See what I'm saying? In the audit process. And I don't know how to do that, except that, it's a gap in the process that could create a problem. Since I'm leaving, we'd like to make sure there's something in the system here, at least there's some reconciliation.
They have to reconcile, but they have to do bank reconciliations every month. But that's what the finance department is supposed to do. They have at least 2 people doing checks and balances, and then when we have the independent auditor come in at the end of the fiscal year, they look at to make sure that we're doing all, we're following all the financial reporting requirements of government agencies, and whatever policies we've added on to strengthen those to match what's being put in the system, so it's back there. And so what I can do is have, the next time Terry talks to you about how those checks and balances are in there, so you can look on.
Well, I'm not gonna be comfortable unless somebody reconciles what we're presenting with what's in the books somehow.
Right.
You know, and I know that it's not that I don't trust anybody, but it's a gap, you know, in the system. We don't know that we're seeing everything. And you know, it could be abused. You know, we've had some financial abuse things going on here in the past. And one thing I would like to do before I'm leaving is to make sure that our systems are clean enough that at least we feel rest assured that we're not, you know, nobody around here is writing bad checks. And so that kind of reconciliation would make me feel better.
Well, we can ask them how they written checks with the warrant register. That's what the council would know.
Somebody needs to verify that, that's done. And I don't know where the catch point is, but maybe it's you.
I can look at that every month and see how they're doing, and then have Terry do that as well, so there's two sets of eyes looking
I
at it.
don't necessarily want everybody, you know, examining every line of detail every month, but just some sort of a process. to
Well,
make sure.
they have to when they do the bank reconciliations, so there are those checks.
Do they reconcile with this? Does this report come directly from the bank reconciliation?
No, what happens is this report's, the warrant register is generated from the checks that were cut for that time period.
Right.
And then when the bank reconciliations come out, they reconcile the rec, which is the bank's records, with our records. And make sure that, okay, these checks have been written, just like you did in the old days when you reconciled your checkbook. Okay, these checks are still outstanding, and if there's any anomalies, we're supposed to pick those up. And so, yeah, I can look at, they should be able to give me a monthly report, so I can look at the warrant register and what the bank recs look like, and just kind of start spot checking those.
So you're going to take responsibility?
We'll take a look at.
I guess that's part of your job anyway, but it's
Sure.
it's a hole in the process that could be abused. How we, you know, whether you're the point of accountability on that, or just somebody needs to define that, you know, it's your job to catch somebody that's writing checks.
Right.
You know, if it's not our job, it's your job. Okay.
Credit card review. I didn't even see it. Moving on then to investment report. Terry not here, just passing up this one.
Yeah, just to make a comment that I looked at it last month. I'm not sure there was one.
I have a comment for you on CalPERS.
Yeah.
Last year, I got something from CalPERS that said, what did I want to do with my retirement account? There are 20 pages of stuff to fill out. I just shied away from being on the council.
What, from being on the council?
And that,
And they use CalPERS for being on the council? Guys get away with it.
we didn't, somebody made it.
Yeah, some cities allow that benefit to their council members, yeah.
Well, we're not paying them.
Well, the thing that was interesting to me was that last month, I got a 1099 that says that they paid me $3,000. I said, well, we sent you something last year, we did send it back, so we cut a check, and so that's why there's a 1099.
We have
And I said, I never got a check. And they said, no, but we got one, so we'll send one to you in the next couple of weeks.
we find out what happened. You know, if there was a resolution against CalPERS or council people, how did it? You know, it's probably done back when we went through our, you know, original financial crisis, what back about 6 years ago.
I don't recall that.
Yeah, you were on council. bet it was back when Barry, back when Larry or Nancy were mayor.
I thought it was really great to cut a check without any authority, once they said 1099, and they never sent a check.
Well, yeah, that's interesting.
All right, moving on.
But I do think that we need to know if we ever, need to stop doing it. What is the policy?
Find out.
All right, moving on to the UUT tax. I think it's nice when you say something and it comes true. I think we had talked about whether the UUT would remain as good as it had been. If we look at page 43, we can see that the first 6 months of the fiscal year, July through December, we have a total of $500,000. And so if that worked out for the remaining 6 months, that's $1 million, just extrapolating that way. And the concern was that will things continue to be that way during the winter period of time? And if we go to page 34, you can see that in January, the electrical was 42,000, the total was 83,000. That 42,000 in January is only behind September and October. And that's my theory, that point that we dig it all the way in. We need to cool down during the summer, and we need to heat up during the winter. And so the electrical bills are pretty much the same. Pretty much the same, and so we can say that that's pretty close. At 83,000, again, it was only less than September and October. And so the trending is pretty much that way. And Kirsten gave us some other graphs, and one of the things I thought of doing, and I just didn't do it, is when we look at these, we're looking at quarters and stuff like that. But I want to do a graph like this to show from July on, so we can see where we're projected to flatline, and then how it's fluctuated and how it's going up and down from July through January, actually July through June. So it's interesting that it's flatlined because we just took the estimated UUT tax and divided by 12. And said that without trying to guesstimate
Till you have some
the
history.
variances, we'll see what the variances are going to be. Now, looking at it, we go, I wouldn't variance it too much because it goes up and down. And if you compare this next year to this year, we anticipate that things will be relatively the same. And you can extrapolate and change things. We did that because this is our first year. So it appears to be tracking with the 83.
Pretty close.
To more than we can't compare to January because we didn't have we had $0 in January of last year, very little in February, very little in March, and all that stuff. So we can't really compare to last year in the last 3 months of the first 6 months of this year.
It's interesting how we got water so far off anticipated and actual. Somebody blew that analysis.
That possibly, or as I was told by a person that's on the water board, certain non-Vail, so I'm not going to mention any names, that represents our area, that the water district had no idea how much. And the thing that's interesting to me here is that it's 129% higher than anticipated. And when you take a look at what we had at that point in time to make those decisions that you made on that, that's $3 million of total revenue that they got from KUA. This would be $9 million. And this person said, well, with the conservation, we had to increase our costs.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And so We get 23% less water usage with a 129% increase in cost. So somehow we don't get safe fertilizer.
Yeah, no, we better not go there.
Can't say that.
No, no.
But
Talking about fertilizer was too close.
so it's like the Russian ballet.
I think we
Also-
can do Russian ballet.
So, and the electrical is a little bit higher, but higher, and I think it's kind of interesting with that is that we seem to have, this is just BS, I'm sorry for staff, that just gives us a chance to talk about, but that we do 4 or 5 solars a week, and yet the electrical's
Yeah, well, you know, the charge, I don't know if they've started yet, but they're online to charge every solar customer $70 a month for an access fee. You know, so,
To recoup their losses.
right.
For the same reason that the utilities raise your rates when you conserve. Their budget says this,
this is
you're
a catch
saving.
23.
Yeah.
I could remember telemarketers a year or 2 years ago, how much is your electric? Candidly, all electrical, during the summer, it's not unusual to have an $800 electric. Not unusual for air conditioning. Mine's pretty consistent at 100.5. Single, open the doors, sweating is a man's thing, you do it all day, open the doors at night, you can sleep. So, people who want to be comfortable, spend their kind of money. That's why I get all the telemarketing calls from so how much is it? If it's over 150, you should talk to us. Now I get 3 times a day. Is it over $70?
Yeah.
Pretty soon it's going to be, do you pay anything at all? Do you pay anything at all coming to us? So,
Then you get money back.
yeah.
Well, you know, that's what was amazing to me was that, you know, that on the one hand, they're trying to give people rebates, you know, state rebates for installing solar, and then they turn around and approve, you know, the $70 connection or whatever it is, access fee. But I'm telling people, slimy bunch of beeps.
Okay, that's all I have on the UUT, and I'll put together that slide, I'll probably do it second, that's what I had for the distributor, the boxes. Right here it is. Comments, sir?
I have no comments on
Staff comments? Meeting is adjourned at 9 o'clock. It's a good hour.